Hello, Libra. I'm Jen with Timeline Tarot, and today we're using the Urban Crow Oracle deck to get you a message from your future self. I've set the intention of this reading to be for Libra Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus. So if you have any of those placements, odds are there's a little message in this reading for you today. If you're not sure what your placements are, in the description box is a link where you can obtain your free birth chart. Take a look at that site and then just come back here and watch the video of your choosing. Also, keep in mind, Libra, that this is a collective general reading. It is not individualized nor personalized to you, and therefore messages may come through today that don't fully resonate. And if that happens, don't get upset. It just means that one message is meant for someone else of your sign or your sign's placement. So just take what fits, how it fits, and leave what doesn't. With all of that said, let's begin. Messages for Libra from their future selves, for Libra Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus. What message does Libra's future self have for Libra? What message does future you have for you, my dear? Let's get one more shuffle now. Thank you. Survival, card number 47. And at the bottom of the deck, Mischief, card number 31. Okay, so let me read this message to you quickly because it is from your future self, and then we'll go a little deeper with tarot. The crow is trapped in a bush as the hungry fox patiently waits for his meal. When we are in survival mode, we are restricted. We, like the crow, cannot fly. This card calls your attention to how you're feeling about a situation. Are you hunkered down waiting for the threat to be over, or are you moving, doing your best to find a path out? When we are in survival mode, our possibilities are limited by a creative mind solely focused on getting through a difficult situation. It is in this space that we're not thinking about future opportunities, as the decisions we make are done so to simply release any immediate pain. Because of this, we risk accepting a quick fix that limits our growth. And card number 31 is Mischief. Crows and ravens have a penchant for pulling tails. Dog tails, cat tails, cow tails, even other bird tails. Even if it has a tail, a crow will feel compelled to pull it. It appears that some may be doing this to distract the animal, but other times it is purely just to get a rise out of the other creature. Mischief indicates an annoyance, nothing detrimental, just a situation that causes a bit of short-lived grief. You may be the target of someone's delinquency or bad behavior. This card may also indicate that you need to add some innocent mischief or passion into your life. And right behind that, we have the grief card. I feel like some of you are in a situation, environment, or connection where you are barely getting by. You'd like to move on from it, but you may be inclined to settle and stay there. You may feel like that's the right thing to do, or that nothing better exists out of it, or you could be so overcome by fear of the change required to move on from that, that you decide to stay where you're at and your survival mode kicks in. I want to make sure my mic is on. It is, okay. So there's something like that that could be happening here for you. And I feel like this situation with the Mischief card and the grief card, it's like it keeps poking at you over and over and over again. It doesn't get better. It's constant. And all you're doing is becoming comfortable with the poking. Staying doesn't make the poking stop. Okay, let's get into tarot. Tell me more about survival and mischief here for the Libra collective. What else do they need to know about this from their future selves for Libra Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus? Tell me more about survival and mischief. What is the message here for the Libra collective from their future self? One more shuffle here. Thank you. First card out, Knight of Wands, followed by the Nine of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, and the Death card. Bottom of the deck, we have Two of Cups, Five of Cups, 10 of Cups. That leaves Justice, Six of Pentacles, King of Swords here, 10 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So I've tapped into a group of you where you're in this situation, environment, or connection because you made a split-second decision to stay in it. And you did it because you thought that it was the right decision at the time, but you didn't really think of the long-term consequences. You just wanted the pain or suffering or confusion of that moment to go away. And so you made this careless decision in the Knight of Wands. So let's say I'm speaking to a Libra, and I'll put this in terms of housing, and you apply it to your life how you see fit. So let's say you're renting an apartment and it's not the greatest condition, and you know that they're overcharging you, and you could probably take the initiative to find another place where to live, but it would take a lot. You'd have to find another place, then you have to save the money, you have to put down the deposit, you have to now pack everything, you have to move, you have to unpack. And suddenly your landlord comes to you and says, you're 2 months shy or 3 months shy of the lease expiring. And if you want to renew it, you have to renew it like this week. You could be so overwhelmed in that moment where you're like, oh God, in a week, well, there's no way I could tell him that I don't want the apartment because I don't even know where I would go. And I don't have the time to save the money to go. And I still got to pack everything. And because of the anxiety that is all built up in that moment where you feel like pressure to make a decision, you might be very quick to want to release the pressure and relieve the pressure off of yourself by just telling him, yes, I'll sign. I'm good for another year or whatever the extension length of term is. And that would be like this quick decision to stay in the apartment complex, even though you know that if you became single and free and like independent of it and went elsewhere, you could have a beautiful new beginning elsewhere. But with that death card, it's like it would take too much to do this and you felt pressured or forced. And so you might be inclined to stay. So this may have already happened to some of you watching. And for others of you, this is a warning from your future self that this could happen, that there's a situation, environment, or connection, and you will be given the opportunity to exit it or exit it early. But because of the anxieties that may come on with the thought of closing it out and what happens afterwards and all of that, you might be quick to stay in a situation, environment, or connection where there's a lot of mischief and a lot of grief and a lot of poking and nothing really changes. But because you're in that moment of survival mode, you may say yes to stay in it. Okay. So some of you have already done that, and others of you, your future self is giving you a warning that that could happen. Tell me about the Knight of Wands here. Tell me about this impulsive action or decision. Tell me about this here for Libra. One more shuffle. Thank you. The Knight of Wands is clarified by the King of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Fool. Bottom of the deck, the Ace of Swords. So some of you may be quick to say yes to this boss or this landlord or whomever and say, yes, I'll stay. I'll have a new beginning here. You can extend the lease. I could be speaking to a Libra where you've been out of work for quite some time and you've put out some feelers, some applications, some resumes. You're not really receiving back the offers that you would like. You're sort of still waiting for that Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords, but there is a job that comes along and you have bills to pay and you have mouths to feed and the job comes with a contract. And now if you accept the job, you're locked in for like a year. You might, in that moment of desperation, because you're, booted into survival mode, and you're not thinking, well, maybe if I just hold out for another day or two, I'll find the job that I need. You might be quick to say yes and enter into an employment contract that locks you into a place. And part of you is like, yes, I got the job, new beginning. But then another part of you is like, oh no, I'm locked in here for a year. I can't leave. I'm contractually obligated to stay. And this could even apply to like a mortgage or a loan. So there's a warning here that your future self wants to give you, that you may take the inspired action to agree to something, some type of contract here. Could be marital, could be legal, could be financial, could be employment, et cetera, et cetera. And you may make the quick decision to accept it because your survival mode is kicked in and you're not thinking clearly in that moment. And some of you have already done this and you now feel contractually obligated to stay. You could leave, but you feel like it's too much of a headache to leave. And so you're settling. So take those messages how they resonate. If you've already done this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't done it, then it's a warning for you that it's coming up soon. And that's why this is your message today. Tell me about that Nine of Pentacles. Because I feel like your future self is telling you you need to become free, independent, autonomous, single, etc. of this. This is a trap. This is a trap. I knew a couple once that did this about two years ago. She found out about his affair. And instead of leaving, because you would think if you found out that your husband had a 3-year affair that you would leave, she didn't. Her survival mode kicked in. I want to save my marriage. And what she ended up doing And of course, he didn't want to leave. I mean, he did, but he didn't want to lose any resources. So they were both in survival mode for different reasons, both fearing an ending that now, 2 years later, they agree should have happened. But back then they didn't. And they took out an equity loan and they put like a $250,000 addition on their home. Him wanting to prove to her that he was, wanting to stay, her wanting to lock him in to a 20-year equity loan so he wouldn't leave, or it would be even more difficult for him to leave. And now 2 years later, both of them are like, what the F did we do? So something like that could be happening. Either you have done it or you're on the precipice of doing it. And again, it's because your survival mode is kicked in. You're not thinking clearly, and you could accept something that ends up being very detrimental for you, or just you become more entangled in it, and therefore it becomes even more difficult to get out of. You can get out of it. I do see that here. It just would become more difficult. So be very mindful of this. Nine of Pentacles. Tell me about the Nine of Pentacles here. One more shuffle here. Thank you. The Nine of Pentacles is clarified by the Five of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, and Judgment. So if you were to really listen to your inner calling, if this happened to you in the past, now looking back, you're probably like, well, that was a mistake. Five of Swords, that didn't work out. I thought that I was going to do that. I was in survival mode. I stayed somewhere I shouldn't have stayed in. So some of you are having that internal conversation with yourself. Like, if given the opportunity again, like if I can get into a time machine and roll back the hands of time, I would not have done that. And others of you, like I said, this is coming up soon for you. And there's an important need here for you to not have this Five of Swords mentality of winning at all cost, or not being able to see the bigger picture, because whatever cycle this was, you're about to repeat it. So either you have left it, either you already had the decision to stay and now you're stuck, but you're looking back, 2020 is hindsight, right? And you're like, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that. You can still make your way out of it. It's just more difficult for you to do that because finances or something, or some contractual obligation, I keep hearing, has you now like too invested in this. For others of you, this is coming up soon. So if you have this proposition from, I don't know who this is, a lover, a partner, a place of employment, anything that's contractually obligated, like legal or marital or employment or even financial, I would really think twice about doing this, because there's something here about a cycle repeating, or you getting caught in like some web here, a web of deception, a web of mischief. And it could just make your departure from this in the future even more complicated or more difficult. I did a reading, and I won't say her name, she's of another sign, but I did a reading for a woman, and she was very distraught that her husband was having an affair. And she thought her answer to that was to get pregnant, that would force him to leave the other woman and to stay with her. And so I did that reading for her in January. The cards advised against it. She clearly went ahead and did it. I had a reading for her a month ago. She is now 5 months pregnant, and her husband has left her for the other woman. She made a decision in survival mode, thinking that would keep the status quo and they could have this new beginning. And now she's 5 months pregnant with a child, and he has already moved out of the marital home. Now it's even more difficult for her. She will become free and autonomous of him, but now she's doing it as a 39-year-old with a baby on the way. This is the warning here for the Libra collective. And it might not be that severe. I'm not the type of reader who's trying to scare you, but this is clearly a warning that you may make a decision that you will regret in the future. And it's a biggie. It's a biggie because it just becomes more complicated to get out of it. Ace of Wands. This is the truth. Tell me about the Ace of Wands here for Libra. I would even consider this a warning if you're looking to like relocate. The Six of Pentacles just showed itself. Anything that you're like investing money in, Six of Pentacles, I would take this as a warning for that also. That could even be like buying a vehicle, buying a home, something like that. If you're doing it pressured in the moment to take this opportunity to survive, if you're doing it under those constraints, you should not be doing it. I think that's your warning. Ace of Wands here. We have the Page of Cups. One more shuffle here. Thank you. Page of Cups, Six of Cups, and the Moon. Bottom of the deck, Eight of Swords. The new beginning. Now, for some of you, this does involve children. So And maybe that's why I felt inclined to share that story. Some of you are thinking of getting pregnant in order to keep a partner. That's not the way to keep a partner. And for others of you, your partner is thinking of like trapping you in the relationship by maybe getting you pregnant. I don't know why, but that message is coming clear. This individual, which is a soulmate, soul bond connection, or you've known for quite some time, is trying to devise a way, some type of mischief here that you're not seeing in the moon energy to keep you trapped here at this location, at this job, in this relationship, in this financial contract, etc., etc. And they appear to be trustworthy. Either you've known them a long time, or they're a family member, or they're a spouse, or they just feel familiar in that Six of Cup energy. Like you ever meet someone, you're like, God, I feel like I've known them for 10 or 20 years. That's this person. And this person is creating mischief here, some kind of trap they're setting up for you that you could untangle yourself from in the future, but it would just be more difficult. So I would say if you're receiving any offers, to heavily consider them, because Eight of Swords, you could get yourself trapped in this even further. Death card. Tell me why the Death card is here for Libra. Tell me why the Death card is here for Libra. What does their future self want them to know about the Death card? One more shuffle. Thank you. The Death card is clarified by the Page of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, and Temperance. Bottom of deck, Queen of Swords. Some of you may feel so pressured in that moment that you feel like, well, I have to give to this. I have no choice. If I don't agree, it'll immediately end. The marriage, the job, if I say no to the mortgage company, they'll, retract the loan. Again, whatever this is for you. But there's something here about it's just breadcrumbs. I know you're in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode and you're hungry and the breadcrumbs look good, but they're not the 4-course meal. And there's something here about you being very tempered when you receive this offer to say, wait, because Temperance card also talks about patience. And it's being able to take a step back and review this situation. Should you really exit it? Because that will probably be your moment to exit it. And again, I want to bring up the marital thing with the baby. Like, let's say you're having issues with your spouse, and maybe it doesn't include infidelity. It could be another reason. And you're really on the rocks. This is like you're gearing up for the moment to leave, and your spouse says something to you about, well, what if we had another kid, or what if we had a kid? That would be your moment. Time out, time out. That's your out. The opportunity or offer that's presented to you is your out to get out of this, as opposed to getting more entangled in the mischief, because this person doesn't have very good intentions for you. It might appear like they do because there's someone you trust or someone you've known a long time, but they're acting in their own survival mode of trying to trap you or keep you and trying to make this offer opportunity sound better than what it actually is. So there's something here about when the offer comes in, that Page of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles, you have the choice here whether or not you want to give to it or go along with it or accept it or end it. And your advice here is to pause in that Temperance energy before you take action, because Temperance is Sagittarius energy, but it's quiet fire. It's also mutable. And so as a mutable sign in that Sagittarius energy, you're supposed to stop and think about all the various things that could go right and all the various things that could go wrong, and to acknowledge that this may be your moment to say, no, actually, we're not getting a new pet. Actually, we're not relocating. We're not buying a house with a 30-year mortgage. No, we're not having a child because I don't intend on staying in this. And it could be the same thing if it's like an employment contract. Maybe you have a contractual job and now you're up for, a renewal. And you might feel pressured in that moment to sign on again for another 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. And there's something here about, even though you're in survival mode, of saying, no, I can't sign on to that. I can't agree to be here for another moment because I've actually been thinking about leaving. That's your moment to be clear and honest. Because when you do walk away from this partnership, Six of Cups plus Two of Cups, Eight of Cups, when you do walk away, that's when the real opportunity comes in. That is the Ten of Cups. That is emotional abundance and emotional contentment. So there's something here, Queen of Swords, your energy about you seeing this very clearly, and even you seeing it as an out. Tell me about that Ten of Cups here for Libra. Tell me about the Ten of Cups. Because the new hello comes with a goodbye to this person or this offer, this opportunity, this contract. Five of Cups to the Two of Cups, closing out that connection or that offer, that opportunity. That's what ushers in the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups can't be found here. That's what your future self is trying to tell you. We have the Emperor flew out of the deck. Tell me more about the Ten of Cups for Libra. Let's get one more shuffle. Thank you. We have the Emperor, we have Strength, and we have the Six of Swords, bottom of that Queen of Cups. Your happiness comes when you take all the strength and courage and perseverance you have to stand up for yourself, whether you're masculine or feminine, and say, no, I am moving on from this offer, this opportunity, this relationship. I'm not going to just say yes because I'm in survival mode. I'm not agreeing to $150,000 expansion on the house. I'm not agreeing to another pet. I'm not agreeing to a child. I'm not agreeing, ... and moving on from it. And that's what brings in the situation, environment, connection, offer, financial opportunity, etc., etc. That is emotional contentment, because whatever this person is offering you, they're coming from a survival mode also. It just doesn't benefit you in the long run. Let's get you 3 cards of advice. 3 cards of advice. One more shuffle here. Thank you. 8 of Swords. Don't get caught in a trap. Queen of Cups. Ace of Cups. Go for the new. As an act of self-love, go for the new. Don't get caught up in this trap. Bottom of the deck, 3 of Pentacles. So if you have done this already and you're stuck, your advice here is to get out of it, because something else will come up in it and it will just keep you stuck longer. So if you've already done this, look for a way out. There is a way out, and there are actually people, 3 of Pentacles, that 2 of Wands, if you look for them, you connect with them, they will help you get out of this situation, environment, or connection, like another loan company. It could be a lawyer, it could be an advisor, it could be family, friends, etc., etc. There are people that if you've already done this, gear up that there's going to be another thing occurring here that puts you in survival mode and might contractually obligate you to this even longer than you need to be. So, but there are people that you can talk to help you move out of it and move towards the new. And for those of you where it hasn't happened yet, this is a warning that it is coming soon. And your future self wants you to know that if you agree to it, you end up stuck. It takes a little bit longer. So your advice here is to move on from it as an act of self-love, to move towards the new. And you also have a person or people that will help you when you say no to this, to move towards the new, or to move out of the living condition, or a new job, something like that comes up for you to kind of pull you out of this. But first comes the no, the ask, and then the no. That is what I have for you, Libra. That is what your future self would like to tell you. Do not make any quick decisions because you are stuck in survival mode. It'll just be more difficult for you to get out of it in the long run. Not impossible, just more difficult. So it's better to avoid that altogether and to keep moving on from whatever this opportunity is. That is what I have for you at this time. If you like this message, it resonated with you, you want to claim all or part of it, or maybe just found it to be helpful, please be sure to click like, share, and subscribe. And until I read for you again, I'm wishing you light, love, and peace.